Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal How To. Tonight, we're going to be talking about REM pods, how to use them, what they do, and just some basic information to familiarize you with what a REM pod is. A REM pod, and the REM stands for radiating electromagnetic pod, just so you know. A REM pod is a device that is commonly used in paranormal investigations to detect changes in electromagnetic fields. Now, this is believed to be associated with paranormal activity. And setting up a REM pod is very easy, actually. It only involves a few simple steps. First of all, you want to choose a location. That's pretty standard. You want to select a location that is either a reportedly haunted location, an area that has known paranormal activity, or a place with a history of, at the very least, unexplained phenomena. This will increase your chances of actually getting something. The next step is to understand the REM pod. You want to familiarize yourself with the specific REM pod model that you're using, because different models may have slightly different features and slightly different functions. The REM pod typically has one or more antennae that will detect the changes in the electromagnetic field around it. Now, the size of those antennae, the number of the antenna, and the radius in which it can detect those changes differ depending on what REM pod you have. The next thing you want to do is simply turn on the REM pod. You want to power it up according to the manufacturer's instructions. So read your book that come with it, see how it says to turn it on, and that's what you want to do. It usually involves turning a switch or pressing a button that activates the device. Now, some REM pods may have adjustable sensitivity settings. So if you are using a REM pod that has those adjustable sensitivity settings, make sure you set them according to your own preferences and according to the environment that you're in, because that'll make a big difference. And if you don't know what your preferences are or what setting is best for the environment you're in, you can read the book that came with it. That'll help a little bit. But mainly, you're just going to want to play around with it some. You know, you're going to learn a lot of the settings and what you like by experimenting with it, playing around, seeing what it does, and seeing what you like best. The next step is you want to place the REM pod. So you want to position the REM pod in the desired location. It's fairly common to place the device in areas where the paranormal activity has been reported in the past, or where other investigators have experienced unexplained phenomena. And you want to ensure that the REM pod has a stable surface to sit on. This will make sure it doesn't get knocked over very easily. And also, you don't want it moving around too much, because that might set it off falsely, and then you're going to get a bad reading. Next, you want to monitor the lights and the sounds. REM pods often have LED lights, and they have audible alarms that will indicate changes in the electromagnetic field. So when something crosses by it and disrupts that electromagnetic field, it will cause the lights and the alarms to go off, depending on how you have it set up. So first, you want to familiarize yourself with the normal behavior of the device. Okay, this could include a continuous glowing light or a steady sound. Some of them do that, but the light's always on, the sound is always going, and then it stops when the electromagnetic field is broken. Most of the times, if there's options, if you can vary the settings a little bit, I like to set mine to where it's quiet and the lights are off. And it only activates if something breaks that electromagnetic field. Because that way you'll have the lights go off, you'll have the beeping happen, the alarm go off when something actually breaks that field. And it's a little bit easier for me to tell when something's going on that way. But either way you set it up, any deviation from the baseline could very possibly be an indication of paranormal activity. Next, you want to document changes. So as you monitor the REM pod, you want to document any changes in the behavior of the device. You want to note the time, you want to note the location, and any other relevant information. Now, this documentation, as I said on the last video, is extremely valuable when you do your post-investigation analysis of the evidence. When you're looking through what you got and you're trying to figure out if you got anything good. When you have something go off, if you know the entire context of what was going on at the time because you wrote it down, you're going to be able to place it a lot easier and figure out if that is something that is actual paranormal activity or has a logical explanation. A good example of this is you're asking questions and you get the lights and you get the sound go off. But at that time, one of your team members who had went to the bathroom was coming back in the room and walked right past it. And that broke the electromagnetic field and set the thing off. But if you didn't write that down, then you might say, well, I asked this question and I got a response on the REM pod. It went off. That means that it was answering me. But in reality, it means that your buddy had to piss and he was coming back and he set it off. You see what I'm saying? So documenting the context is super, super important to make sure that you have actual paranormal activity. Next, you want to ask questions and record the data. If you're conducting an EVP session, which I covered in the last video, or asking questions during your investigation, you want to pay attention to any correlation between your questions and the REM pod's response. And then once again, record your observations for later analysis. When you're done with your investigation, you want to review and analyze the data. So after your investigation, you review the data that you collected from the REM pod. You look for patterns or anomalies that may coincide with reported paranormal activity. So if people are saying certain things happen and you are questioning the entity that's there about those things, and then you get a REM pod response, then chances are that is paranormal activity as long as the context is right, as long as nobody was walking through or anything like that. And once again, it's essential to approach your analysis with a critical mindset. Okay, I can't state that enough, and I'll probably say it on every single video I make about how to do things in the paranormal. Always have a critical mindset. Always consider alternative explanations for any observed phenomena. Okay, anything you see that you think might be paranormal, always come at it as a skeptic. Always look at it and try to figure out, does this have a logical explanation? Does this have a reason why it happened that is not paranormal? That'll help rule out a lot of stuff. And it'll help to bolster your claim when you say that you do have something that's paranormal. Last thing I want to say here about the steps, and it's not really a step in using the device, but it's something that's kind of important to me. Okay, and that's respect the environment. You want to always be respectful of the environment and any entities that may be present. If you feel uncomfortable or you sense negative energy, there's no shame in ending the investigation or seeking guidance from a more experienced paranormal investigator. This is something that a lot of paranormal investigators don't do, because they've seen too many TV shows. They think they have to provoke all the time, so they're not respectful. And when things start to get hairy, which they will sometimes if you're dealing with something dangerous and you're being disrespectful like that, then they get that tough guy mindset where they don't want to back down and leave. So they're putting themselves in danger that they are not qualified or ready to deal with. So once again, no shame. If you're in over your head, if things are starting to get too hairy for you and you're getting a little freaked out, better to go. Better just to bail on it than to end up with an attachment. Because remember that it is your will that is protecting you. Okay, you're not giving these things permission to attach to you. I mean, yes, you do your cleansing before and after. Yes, you're saying your prayers. Yes, God is with you. But you have to allow these things to attach to you. So if you're starting to get a little shaky and you're starting to get a little scared and freaked out, you're not going to have the solid faith and the solid will to keep yourself safe in this situation. So it's better to leave, okay? And I want you to remember that the REM pod is a tool that is used in paranormal investigations. But its readings should be interpreted very cautiously, because a lot of different things can set those REM pods off. It's not always paranormal activity. You have environmental factors, you have electrical interference, and you even have technical malfunctions in some of the cheaper devices that can make those things go off. Okay, so once again, always approach any paranormal investigation with a skeptical mindset and consider multiple factors when you're analyzing your results. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that if you don't know how to use a REM pod, it taught you to. Even if you do know how to use a REM pod, maybe you learned something anyway from it. Let me know down in the comments section what you guys think. As always, up to you to make up your own mind, and I will catch you on the next one. Till I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.